My name is Brian Green. I've been a Gabriel about 4 years now, just over 4 years. I continue to work in Vancouver. I'm a sociologist by training. I work as a union rep for university professors. Aside from that, I make music. I I organize community events and small gatherings on a regular basis to find different ways of bringing people together. And I do that with Megan, my partner. We spend a lot of time on uh, issues of food security and comfort and ways that communities can celebrate one another so that they want to spend more time together and invest locally in building their relationships. Yeah, to live in the world that we live in rather than in something that we imagine might be out there.
My name is Megan Adam. I live on Gabriola Island, and I do a lot of things. For my job life, I do web development. I'm a web developer, project manager, but I do a lot of things that aren't related to making money. So in my life, I am, oh, how would I encapsulate that? I do a lot of sewing. I sew all my own clothes. I'm a weaver. I'm somebody who facilitates meditation, teaches meditation, practice Zen Buddhism. I am a gardener. I am a food producer. I am a community organizer. I'm a musician. I think that might, oh, a writer. I'm also a writer. I write a newsletter.
There were so many reasons that we picked Gabriola when we decided to leave the city, and some of them were logistic, and some of them were financial, and some of them were this. But one of the things that I remember, I didn't know anything about Gabriola. I'd never set foot on this island. Um, but when it first came up as maybe this is the right kind of place, I did some did some quick Google searching and just kind of see what I can read about. And what I remember is I read about the Gurney, and I read about the medical center, and I read about the Commons. Yeah, those three things. I mean, we both came out of politically active and community engaged places. So when we looked at those, there were all of these other reasons why Gabriola was a place that could work for us, uh, you know, logistically and so on and so forth. But the key thing was we kind of hit on that and said, wow, this is a community that gets things done.
Gabriola is a human-sized community. And that's different than when you live in the city or even in other communities that are really sprawled out. Like you can live in very rural communities that don't feel human sized. This is a community that's rural, but also people aren't that far apart from each other. So there's a real sense of being together in a place. And an island, even more so because you're bounded by water. So there's something about Gabriel that feels very human, and that when you do something. It could be a small thing, just hold a canning workshop, a very small offering. You can see how it impacts and ripples out.
The first thing for us was like start having house concerts, which happened accidentally. Somebody asked us, can musicians come and sing in your yard? Sure, right? Well, okay, that's a little thing. It's a tiny little thing, but my God, that was so profoundly important in terms of grounding us in this community.
Coming here is not like, okay, now we don't have to deal with the problems of the world anymore. Coming here is like, now I have a little bit of space to look at the world and how I want to be in it, as opposed to always being pushed around in it, which is how we are when we're so crowded and working so much and, financially insecure, those things.
The question of intergenerational diversity, but also just diversity of experience and so on and so forth, and reaching out to people who are different than you in terms of how they live and how they think. Um, you see that much more profoundly, more quickly in a place like this, um, because as soon as you do something, it is everybody's there.
Yeah, refuge is about shelter. And that doesn't have to be that's not a permanent or fixed thing, because we take refuge in people. We take refuge in ideas. We take refuge in books. We take refuge in music. There are all these places where we find ourselves sheltered in the world. And so my home is one kind of refuge for me, and hopefully for the people who spend time here and come in retreat here. But it's much bigger than that. Refuge is about, it is about finding a place where we fit. That's refuge is about finding a place where we fit.